Making a career transition is an investment of time, energy, and political capital. You must calculate if jumping ship yields a positive return. On paper, the macroeconomic conditions look favorable. Unemployment sits low at roughly 4%, and average base pay continues to rise. This chart tracks a 4 to 6% salary growth, creating an illusion that candidates hold the leverage. But notice the right side. Remote roles attract 60% of applications, despite being only 20% of actual job postings. Candidates holding out for a fully remote position face a severe supply bottleneck. Those willing to commute a few days a week immediately access a less saturated applicant pool. Evaluating a job change requires viewing the process as a mathematical equation, measuring the upfront effort you spend against the actual value you receive. Securing a premium role requires treating the transition as a calculated financial investment, rather than relying on headlines about a candidate-driven market. Employers are no longer hiring based purely on past titles or credentials. They are screening specifically for verified skills and capabilities. This shift creates a massive friction point. You will face rigorous interviews designed to extract behavioral proof of how you handle conflict, manage projects, and solve complex problems. Even if you secure an offer, national salary averages can be highly deceptive. Moving across state lines or even to a different city can entirely erase what looks like a 15% raise. Then comes the final hurdle in your transition, your current employer suddenly offering you significantly more money just to stay. Accepting the highest superficial number without calculating these prep requirements, geographic taxes, and psychological traps will yield a negative return on your investment. The modern interview process demands serious upfront capital. Your currency is preparation time. This matrix plots interview preparation strategies, measuring the effort required against the leverage they provide during negotiations. The upper right quadrant requires the most work, writing out and rehearsing specific, behavior-based stories that prove your leadership and problem-solving skills. Winging these answers guarantees you will stall out when a hiring manager presses you for specific details on how you overcame a major project obstacle. The top left quadrant highlights a tactic that takes very little effort but yields high leverage, asking targeted reverse questions. Asking a hiring manager to explain recent team milestones or why a position is vacant immediately shifts the power dynamic in the room. Direct questions might intimidate an insecure manager. That outcome protects you from transitioning into a toxic environment. Rehearsing behavioral stories and drafting sharp questions is the mandatory capital you must spend to purchase real leverage at the offer stage. Once you reach the offer stage, you must run that top-line number through local geographic multipliers. This table uses a static $100,000 base salary to show how geography alters value. Apply the San Francisco multiplier, and the role inflates to $138,000. Route the position to Dayton, Ohio, and it drops to $88,000. The higher gross number in coastal markets is heavily taxed by local cost of living and property rates, neutralizing the higher pay. Protecting your purchasing power requires calculating your specific geographic multiplier, ignoring the flashy national average base pay. You hand in your resignation envelope, and your current employer introduces a disruptive variable, the counteroffer. Staying in your current role with a sudden pay bump offers immediate financial allure and the comfort of avoiding a new learning curve. The statistical reality of accepting a counteroffer is grim. It permanently fractures trust, and data shows a high likelihood that you will voluntarily leave or be let go within 6 to 12 months. This scorecard compares total income. Measuring true value requires looking past the base salary. Deduct the costs of commuting, parking, and travel from your gross total. Subtracting a weaker 401k match and higher insurance premiums further diminishes the net value. A visually impressive base salary bump can mathematically result in a net negative income once these total compensation costs are factored in. Navigating these variables requires a strict decision framework to determine if a transition is viable. This decision tree evaluates the major bottlenecks, starting with the most common hurdle. Is your primary goal a fully remote position? Demanding remote work guarantees a hyper-saturated applicant pool and much slower placement times. For candidates willing to compromise on location, the final hurdle appears at resignation. Is your current employer offering a counteroffer? Declining the counteroffer is the mathematically safer bet to protect long-term career stability from severed trust. The ideal profile in today's market is the strategic compromiser. This professional accepts hybrid roles, preps rigorous behavioral stories, and negotiates based on total compensation. The highest return on investment goes to the candidate who calculates the true value of their time and effort.